Hey everybody, so we played Rock, Paper, Wizard. This is a game Josh brought and I'm going to let him tell you about it and then each of us are going to tell you what we thought. Josh, go ahead and get us started.
So the game of Rock, Paper, Wizard, it's a play on Rock, Paper, Scissors. A group of wizards have just finished defeating a dragon and now they're greedy and they want the gold for themselves. So basically, you're going to center yourself on the board and after each round, the further you are the closer you are to the gold, the more gold you're going to get at the end of the round. Now, how the rock, paper, scissors works is each player gets to choose from 4 spell cards, and each of these spell cards does something. Now, the blue cards are more defense. It basically gets you closer to the gold. The red cards are more attack. They push players away from the gold. And the green cards, the gold point cards, they basically redistribute gold as you see fit. The best part, in my opinion, of this game is if 2 people decide to aim a spell after the rock, paper, scissors part at the same person, and it's the same spell, it cancels it out. And they have to randomly draw, and just it adds chaos to the game. And I always like a game that adds a little bit of chaos to it. One thing I kind of didn't like about the game is you could be really, really, really far away from the gold, but if you're still the closest person to the gold, you still get gold. So you could be by the entrance, but if you're the closest person, you still get gold.
So tell folks, how do people get moved around on this board? Like, what's a spell that would move somebody?
So pass wall. What pass wall does is...
I'll hold that up for you.
So what pass wall does is if I aim pass wall at someone, it will move that person 3 spaces. I believe that's what it says.
Yeah, 3.
And so basically from wherever they are, it moves them 3 spaces. Moves the target 2 spaces, but it also moves the caster 3 spaces. So it's an advantageous spell for both the target and the caster.
So I throw pass wall at you, and let's suppose we're both on the board like so. Then you're going to get to move up 2, but I'm going to get to move up 3.
Yes.
And so now I haven't quite caught up with you, but I've gained some ground.
Exactly.
Okay.
Whereas Chain Lightning, which is an attack spell, Chain Lightning almost does the exact opposite of what Pass Wall did. Chain Lightning will basically take the target and push them back 3. So if I were to aim Chain Lightning at Kevin, it would push him back 3, and I would actually get to advance 2. So I would get even further of an advantage. And a green card example would be Feeble Mind, which basically pools the money between both players and then distributes it evenly. So it's a really good card if you have no money, they have all the money, and you want to at least get half of that.
Cool. So, John, what was your experience with playing the game?
I found there were several layers to the way you would start gameplay. Initially, you're just trying to get furthest up the line. And we learned quite quickly that there's more metagaming that goes on, one of which is the intentions of the players. We find that certain players have certain things they really like to do. And so knowing that beforehand and being able to see all the spells, that we talk about the fact that you always can see all the spells that are available.
There's 4 always that everyone has an opportunity to choose from.
Right, so now you have to base your decisions on what decisions you think the rest of the players are going to be making. And then also decide where you want to make those spells land, knowing that your spell can either affect yourself as well as the target, or can only affect the target. I found that to be more of a challenge at first because it seems very random when you first play the game. It's almost arbitrary because you find your moves being counteracted so quickly or canceled out so quickly. And it's incredibly frustrating because you think you've made a damn fine play and you find that play being absolutely negated because somebody else has also decided to make that exact same play directly at you, perhaps.
Well, similarly, there are a couple of spells that are really nasty attacks, right? Like, so this Feeble Mind spell right here, the target and the caster each put their money together into one pile and split it. So if I'm really far behind and you're really far ahead, you're my main target. Well, I know at least at one point in our play, one of us was way ahead of all the others, and a card like that comes up, and now, okay, I know I'm the target. Who am I going to defend against? I know all of you are about to attack me, and probably my best bet is to go with what Josh said. Just throw the same spell back at them and hope that they threw it at me so I can just top deck and get something better than what's about to happen to me. How do I survive this attack? Jarrod, what did you think of it?
I mean, I enjoyed the communal hand, like a Texas Hold'em game. You know, you're not holding cards in your hand, you're all using the same cards on the table. And then I enjoyed the variety of the different moves that you have, all these different cards, and the actions you can take. So the counter spell doesn't necessarily have to be used on, you know, a player you think is going to attack you. You can use it on the first player, the one who's currently winning, and you can prevent them from taking any action this turn. And that way they cannot enrich themselves, and everybody else has a chance to work towards success. So I think there's a great variety in the moves, in the hand gestures, and it didn't feel like we had too many like duplicates. We had attacks and defenses that were mirror images of each other, but they weren't duplicate cards. And so I enjoy that wide variety when you're shuffling the deck.
One thing I definitely noticed, because we played this twice. The first time was to get the rhythm of it, and the second time was to play by all the rules, because of course, you know, first time you play any game, you're going to get a rule wrong.
And the deck was not shuffled.
The deck was comically not shuffled. Here's the rule we missed, just in case you missed it, folks. After the scoring, you'll notice on this track, you've got the very close to the gold and the very close to the entrance, right? And you want to end up here. That's not so great. If you are in this gold zone, you get moved back to this line. And if you're back in this entrance zone, you get moved up to this line. So that helps keep everybody in tighter competition. In our first play, we missed that rule, and we were all piled up around the front. It was pretty ridiculous. And this game is meant to be ridiculous, but it wasn't meant to be that ridiculous.
I mean, the game goes about 15 to 30 minutes at most.
Yeah, I think our longer play was 30 minutes, and our shorter.
So it's supposed to be a quick game. Like, it's designed to go quickly.
Yeah, well, but we do want to play by all the rules.
Yes,
right?
That's important.
The first game, I think, went a little faster because we were all clustered around gold. And, of course, it's first player who's in first each round gets more gold, and then second place gets gold.
Right.
But then ties, they get the equal amount of gold.
Yeah, ties are friendly in this game.
And so I think that sets up for a chance that, you know, end game is achieve the certain amount of gold.
You're going to 25.
You're going to have multiple players potentially reaching that number around the same time, which then extends game into a sudden death. But sometimes it feels like there shouldn't have been friendly ties. I don't know what the thoughts of the developers were when coming up with that.
Yeah, I'm not that's the other thing. If there were two people tied for first and they both get, I believe it was 5 gold.
5 each. Yes.
The person like in third place is considered to still be in second. And so second place gets 3 gold. And so there were times where all 4 people got gold.
Right.
And like the developer of the game, I would have liked a little bit more of language of if there's 2 people in first, that means that's it. That's the only people that get gold.
Right.
But
so you would have liked a less friendly tie.
Yeah, I would like a less friendly tie where I'm okay with like 2 people having first place or 2 people having second place if there's an obvious first second dynamic with less overall ties. But it does make the game go faster, so I didn't mind it too much.
It's my assumption, speaking, having designed a few board games, it was my assumption that that's why they did it. That they went with friendly ties in order to accelerate the end game, make sure the end game came quickly, rather than something like, say, if 2 people are tied for first, then they each add first and second together and split it among however many people are tied. Or if multiple people are tied for second, then there's those 3 coins and they split them. And if 4 people are tied, well, I guess if 4 people are tied, that's everybody, and you split anyway. But they could have done something like that. And if you wanted the game to play 6, we only played with 4.
Yeah.
Okay, so then so I'm guessing that was just to help ensure that the game rapidly moves toward an end, so it doesn't outstay its welcome. Because I certainly never felt it outstood its welcome.
No.
But if you did want to play longer, you could make the ties less friendly.
Yeah, you can homebrew.
You could, you could even
rules.
say things like tied people just don't score. You can do all kinds of disagreeable and evil things if you wanted to tweak the rules. So what was the price point on this one? I know you picked it up. Do you remember? Was it 25?
I'm pretty sure it was $20. I'm pretty sure it at most 25. I
Okay.
know that like I probably wouldn't have bought it at 30.
Right.
I'm
So it's
pretty
in the
sure.
filler game price
Yeah.
zone, and it's in the filler
It's a
game
friendly.
complexity. I certainly like it to fill a little time while we're waiting
Yeah.
for the last player to show up for role play, or we're going to play a bigger, longer board game, and let's play this while we're warming up and getting our brains ready. So I liked it. Final thoughts?
Am I allowed to be a little upset with some of the graphics they used?
You are.
Yes.
So you pointed out when we were playing, we're all sitting around the table. We had trouble determining which token was which player.
Oh yeah.
Massive problem
Oh
for
yes.
us.
On the pawns themselves, I'll hold up 2 of them here.
Each pawn has its own unique art, which I love. Each pawn has its own unique color, great. Each pawn has its own unique rune. But then when you're at a
There's a
distance,
couple other
or
ones.
if the pawns which are two-dimensional are at an angle to you, you can't always tell easily without like getting close up which pawn is yours to move, especially if we filled the board with 6 pawns. And so you had brought up the idea of instead of having clear bases, having colored bases.
Yes.
Yes.
Or
Absolutely.
a rune at the
Absolutely.
top, instead of being some artistic flourish, being an actual letter or number or recognizable even Greek
Right.
alphabet. So if they were to sell amazingly and reprint the game, perhaps making a change in the pawns.
Well, clearly this game should keep the $25 price point and come with 6 hand-painted minis. That would be, I think we would all buy a copy. So, Whiz Kids, if you're listening, give us painted minis, but don't raise the price. And then we'll all go out and buy copies.
Yeah, to play off what he said, if you are not playing in a very light lit area, there's some of the little tokens that look like they're the same color.
Good lighting is important for this
It's
game.
yeah.
Yeah.
Which this would be amazing to play at a bar or pub or something if you have the table space and you don't get all your drinks everywhere. But yeah, the moment
But
the
the-
lighting goes down and the moment your eyesight starts to blur, I don't know that necessarily would be the easiest to gauge points at the end of each round.
Yeah, because
Right.
I was moving other people, the wrong people, all the time.
Yeah, it's that is a thing that I definitely I would pimp up my game a little bit and change and replace these clear bases with color coded bases. I have some back in the back, and I know that you can order them online for a nominal fee. John, final thoughts?
Same as was said before. We had so much trouble distinguishing whose character piece was whose. And I think part of that is color scheme, because a lot of the colors sort of blend together, and it seems as if the colors are darker maybe because you're in a dungeon, and so maybe that's why everything's very dark. But it makes it
Fair.
really hard to contrast them.
Yeah.
So that would be one recommendation. The other thing was denominations. So the denominations are in 1s, 5s, and 10s. You think this would be really nice, but we
Five.
found ourselves constantly having to
Well,
break the 5s, break the
and
10s,
10s, yeah.
as we lost gold, as we had to give up pieces. So it became kind of tedious. That might just be a single gripe from me, but it's just that kind of slowed down gameplay a little bit, trying to get those denominations broken up
Yeah,
and
that's
having
fair.
a stack and having to determine how many 5s does he have over there, how many 10s does someone have, because we were trying to keep track of that, because that ultimately would decide your gameplay.
Yes.
Knowing how many gold pieces the guy next to you had. If he was close, you knew you wanted to do something like Feeble Mind or something that would split his bank,
Yeah.
so that you had a better chance at actually achieving victory.
So knowing that adding poker chips to a game, I mean, adding anything snazzier than this could really affect the price point of the game.
Uh-huh.
When you're playing at home, would you replace these with poker chips?
It would be a nice idea.
Okay.
Right.
I know a lot of gamers have poker chips at home and they can use those.
I have an alternate idea.
Okay.
So I like the art they used because they did a single piece and then the 5 piece looks like 5 stacked on top of each other and the 10 looks like 10 stacked on top of each other. I like where they went with that, but for me it's actually in the rules of the gameplay. Maybe 25 isn't your goal. Since 25 is your goal, they wanted to give you larger scale pieces. What if your goal is less than that and first place each round gets less gold than 5 for winning? So now you can find a way to have it be the same length in game just by cutting down the number of points that first place gets and setting a smaller goal. And now instead of me having 30, 50 tokens to represent money, I have a similar amount, but they're all in single digits.
Right.
Because now I'm not going for 25, I'm going for 12 or something, or 15.
Gotcha.
And I think one of the reasons that they have it like that is it is designed to play at most 6 people. And if you have 6 people and each person is at like that 20 to 23 gold parts, there's a lot of gold, and they didn't want to have over 100 tiny little single gold coin tokens.
Right.
But as far as like, I agree with you, it took a lot of gameplay to just take out and exchange and make change. It was the same issue that I have with the character tokens. It was sometimes hard to distinguish just by glance the difference between a 5 and a 10.
Right.
Just by
Although
just
they are different
eyeball.
sizes.
Even though they're different
Different
sizes
colors.
and different colors, but still.
Well, they're not strongly different
they're
colors.
not
I mean, they are different
strongly-
colors. You'll see they are different colors. So they're not strongly different colors, but they are strongly different sized.
Like, I like
So-
the fact that the single gold piece is a different shape.
That really helps.
Yes.
Yeah.
If this was like a circle, or if this was a triangle, or some other different shape,
So if they had added shade to it, that
that
Yeah.
I think would have been improved
Okay.
it.
Right, 2 rectangles, I mean, that's the trouble, right? And they're not exactly that
And
much
gamers-
difference.
Most gamers are lazy.
well, yeah. And I do respect they've got to keep an eye on their bottom line.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Keep-
understood.
And keep the price point low. You said yourself you would not pay 30 for this,
No,
so that's a thing that has to be factored in. But you're making dies anyway. It might have been nice for these to be different shape, and definitely I recommend anybody who's going to play this more than once or twice. And it's a hoot. You should play it a bunch.
Yeah.
Definitely replace these clear bases with some color coded bases,
Agreed.
and make it much easier for people to keep track of who they are.
Or you can
so-
use-
Or just stick something like just a sticky note on the bottom, right? Then just cut it out, because the color will come through on those clear bases easily
Oh,
enough.
okay, right.
I
Just
was
keep
gonna
or-
paint those. I was
Or
gonna
paint them, yeah.
You're going to paint the bases.
Like,
right.
or I
So,
mean, if
wait
you
for
already
the
have
minis to
minis
arrive.
at
Yeah.
home, or you already have little things from other games that you want to use, you can just use your own minis.
Right. Well, until WizKids gets around to including
Of course.
the painted minis that we're still requesting. So,
Yeah.
all right. So, folks, that's Rock Paper Wizard. We liked it overall.
Yeah,
we have a
absolutely.
few
Yeah.
details we'd like to see better, but overall, we think it's a pretty good game, and we're going to be playing it more, and you might want to try it out as well. Take care.